Okay, so number 2 on page 34. All right, complete the sentences. Use the adjectives in exercise 1. All right, so we're going to be using the adjectives here in exercise 1 to complete these sentences. Okay, all right, good. So the first one, the water is hot enough to make coffee. So they've done that one for us. Let's continue on. Let's see which ones fit the best in these sentences. All right. He isn't blank enough to reach the ceiling. So I would say tall. He isn't tall enough to reach the ceiling. Number 3, they're not blank enough to lift the box. So I would use they aren't strong, right? They're not strong enough to lift the box. Number 4, the car is too blank for 5 people. If it's 2, that means it's not enough, right? Or it's too much, right? Too much. So it's over, right? So the car is too, I would say, small. Too small. The car is too small for 5 people. Number 5, he is too blank to get married. Alright, he is too young to get married. The train station isn't blank enough to walk. So I would say the train station isn't close enough to walk. Alright, so those are my answers, and hopefully you got the same. Alright, so let's move on. Complete the sentences. Use the correct adjective and to or enough. Alright, so we have 3 pictures here. We have a young girl behind the wheel of a car. She can't really see over the steering wheel. We have a guy trying to lift a couch or sofa, and it looks like he's really having a hard time. And then we have a guy who has a short and small shirt. Alright, he's about to pop out of that thing. Alright, so now we're going to use the correct adjective and to or enough. Okay, so it looks like the first picture is done for us. She's too young. Okay, so that's how we use too. That means she's not old enough. Makes sense? Okay, so let's pause the video, take some time to complete 3 through 6 for pictures 2 and 3, and then we'll come back and we'll go over it together. Alright, let's pause the video and do 3 through 6. Okay, so hopefully you had some time to do 2 through 6. So let's look at this. Alright, so picture 1 and 2 is done for us. Let's look at picture number 2. He's blank. So we have to use 2. So I'm going to say he's too weak. Okay, he's too weak. Number 4 is I have to use enough. So he's not strong enough. He's not strong enough. Number 5, the picture of the short shirt or a small shirt, right? So I'm going to say it's is the shirt. Alright, it is going to be the shirt. It's too short. Okay, or let's say small. It's too small. Alright, it's too small. And now I have to use enough, so it's not large enough. Alright, it's too small. It's not large enough. Alright, so that's what I got. And hopefully you got the same, or something similar, right? Similar is fine. Alright, so let's move on. Page 35 in our workbook. Alright, so let's look at number 4. Complete the sentences. Use to or not and then our adjective enough with the word in parenthesis. Alright, so the first one is done for us. This is a conversation. I don't want to live in the city anymore. So we're going to be using noisy. It's too noisy. The other person says, I agree. Now we're going to use quiet, and enough, right? So it's not quiet enough. Alright, so now let's take some time, based on what we've learned so far about to, enough, and not enough, right? Let's take some time to complete 2 through 6 using these words that are in parenthesis, right? First conversation will be to, the second conversation will be not, then the adjective enough. So not, and then what's in parenthesis, right? Cheap. Not cheap enough. Okay? So let's do that, and we'll come back and we'll look at the answers together. Alright, let's pause the video. Alright, so hopefully you had some time to pause the video and go through 2 through 6. So let's go through these together. Alright, so number 1 is done for us, so let's look at number 2. The rent for this apartment is too expensive. You're right, it's not cheap enough. We need number 3. We need a new house. Our house is too small. That's true. Our house is not big enough. Number 4. I don't like this exercise. It's too difficult. I agree. It's not easy enough. Number 5. I want to quit my job. It's too boring. You've complained to me before that your job is not interesting enough. And then number 6. My daughter wants to take a trip by herself. She's too young. I agree. She's not old enough. Alright, so those are the answers that I got. And hopefully you got the same. Alright, so let's move on to number 5. Number 5. Alright, down the page. Complete the sentences. Use the correct adjective and to or enough. Alright, so we're still practicing how to use to or enough. Alright, but before we look at our sentences, let's look at our word box to make sure that we can pronounce these words correctly. Alright, so the first word is big. Big. Next word is experienced. Experienced. Next word is high. High. Old. Old. Strong. Strong. Tall. Tall. Weak. Weak. young, young. Okay, so that's how we pronounce these words. If you need to pause the video to practice some more, that's fine. If you need to rewind and practice, that's fine. But let's move ahead and add these words into our 8 sentences. Okay, and the first one is done for us. I have 5 children. This house isn't big enough for us. Okay, makes sense. Alright, so now let's pause the video and do 2 through 8. Okay, let's complete 2 through 8 and then we'll come back and we'll go over them together. Alright, so let's pause the video now. Okay, so hopefully you had some time to pause the video and answer 2 through 8. So let's look at these together. Alright, so number 2. James is 6'10", 6 feet 10 inches. He's tall enough to reach the ceiling. He's tall enough to reach the ceiling. Number 3. My daughter is 6 months old. She's not old enough to talk. She's not old enough to talk. Number 4. The books on the top shelf. The books are on the top shelf. They're too high to reach. They're too high to reach. Number 5. This box is not very heavy. This box is not very heavy. I'm strong enough to carry it. I am strong enough to carry it. Number 6. Meredith is 14 years old. She's too young to drive. Too young to drive. My husband hasn't finished his training. He's not experienced enough to be an engineer. He's not experienced enough to be an engineer. And then number 8. I need some help. I'm too weak to lift this TV. I'm too weak to lift this TV. Okay? So those are the answers that I got. Hopefully you got the same. Alright? Good. So, like I said, we were using too and enough. And in some cases we were using not enough. Okay? Not strong enough. Alright? For an example. Alright? So now what we're going to do, what you can do is you can keep going in the book and do lessons D, which is reading, lessons E, which is writing. Okay? But we're going to continue on and skip ahead to lesson F. Okay? So when we come back, we will look at lesson F and continue on with our review. All right. All right. So we've moved ahead to we've moved ahead in our Unit 3 review to lesson F. All right. So lesson F, another view, and we're going to be on page 40 in our workbook, in the white book. All right. So number 1 is read the questions. All right. Look at the ad, then fill in the correct answers. All right. So let's look at the ad first. All right. So this is an ad. It looks like it's on a bulletin board, tacked onto a bulletin board, and it's for Hillside Hospital. Seeks 4 volunteers. Start immediately means right now. Okay. The hours are from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m., 3 afternoons a week. The job duties or requirements: greet visitors with a smile and take them to patients' rooms. Serve tea, coffee, and cold drinks to the visitors. Play games with the patients and take books to their rooms. Okay? Requirements: you have to be 18 years old or older. Seniors welcome to apply. Must be friendly, helpful, and patient. Teamwork skills a plus. All right. Send a resume and letter of interest to Volunteer Division, Hillside Hospital, 1200 Hillside Avenue, Los Angeles, California, zip code 90027. No phone calls, please. So don't call. All right. So now that we see what the ad looks like and what they're asking, all right. Now let's read the questions and fill in the correct answers. So the first one is done for us, right? Volunteers must be blank years old. Volunteers must be at least 18 years old. Okay? So now let's take some time to complete 2 through 6. So let's pause the video, complete 2 through 6, and then we'll come back and we will compare our answers. Alright? So let's do that now. Okay, so hopefully you had some time to complete the answers here based on the ad for Hillside Hospital. First one was done for us, so let's look at number 2. How many hours do volunteers have to work a day? Okay, so according to the ad, I chose C, 6. Volunteers have to work 6 hours a day from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. Which statement is not true? Okay, the statement that is not true is C. Volunteers should be experienced nurses. That's not a requirement. Okay. Number 4. What will a volunteer at the hospital do? Out of all these answers here, I chose B. They will assist visitors. Okay. They will not serve food. They will serve drinks, but they will not serve food. They will not assist nurses, and they will not give medicine. All right. Number 5. What are teamwork skills? All right. So based on these answers here, I chose B. Teamwork skills are the ability to work with other people. All right. The ability to work with other people. And then number 6, which statement is true? Okay. Out of all these answers, I chose B. Volunteers must like meeting people. Okay. So they must like meeting people. So those were my answers. Hopefully you got the same. All right. So let's turn over to page 41. Page 41, we are going to start with number 2. So number 2, complete the sentences. Use the affirmative, meaning positive, or the negative of be able to. Okay? So the first one is done for us. We aren't able to do the laundry today. The washing machine is broken. Okay, so they took the word in parentheses, do, right, and use the negative, aren't able to do. All right, so now let's take some time to look at 2 through 8. All right, and we're going to complete that using the affirmative or the positive of able. The positive or the negative of be able to. All right. If you need to practice more on or get more information on how to use be able to, you can always look in your student book, right, on page 43. All right, grammar connections. Be able to. Use be able to for ability, right? So be able to also means can. I can. Okay? You can. She can. It can. They can, or we can. Okay? So let's take some time to do 2 through 8, and we'll come back and we'll look at the answers together. Let's pause the video now.